Hello and welcome to When Will It End? It's a movie podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Charles.
And if you're a listener, you know what's happening now. We done seen another Terminator. Okay, stop.
I want to interrupt.
Yeah.
Let's do this right.
Yeah, sure.
Because I want to blow the load.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is it. We're closing the door on what feels like a really endless series.
But more importantly,
yeah,
I'm dating the podcast, buddy. We're recording like hours before this is getting released. We've never done this.
It's
We've never
kind
been
of
so
exciting.
close.
And you know, this is the finale. This is we saw Terminator Dark Fate, the 6th installment of the Terminator franchise. Because, of course, in this series, Charles, we watch the first movie and the second movie. After that, the third movie, we proceed then to the fourth movie. After the fourth, my good man, we go to the fifth. And in some cases, when the situation calls for it, which I believe...
The first.
This is one of the first series. This is the first series we've made it this deep?
How would it be one of the first?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. We're a team. Please help me.
This is the first.
This is the first. We made it to the 6th film in a series. And we're so excited to talk about it that we're going to start with a new segment on the show that I just thought of today. We're going to give a 5 fork rating to a burrito franchise in Berkshire County. It's a new segment I thought of for the show.
Huh.
It's a brand new idea. It's like, you know, instead of stars, like for movies, it's forks, like for food. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
It's like a brand new idea.
How do you think of that?
Oh, I don't know. These things come to me.
I mean, we did the same rating system when you asked me to rate the Impossible Whopper.
Yeah, the Impossible Burger. You're right. This is, you know...
I mean, you can make... Yeah, this is a new segment.
It's beloved. I went to Hot Harry's Burritos in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. There's a few sprinkled throughout Berkshire County. This one is the one I've been going to since high school.
You told me
Charles.
this is a Pittsfield franchise.
It began on Tyler Street, out on the city's northwest of downtown's neighborhood in Morningside. This is the North Street one, right downtown. Maybe the flagship, I would say, because it's the most accessible. It's the most central location.
Yeah.
I got a spicy chicken burrito.
We just came out of a movie, walked right in.
I know, there was no line.
Yeah, and I mean, I was more saying it was right there. So
it was magical.
For me, it was the most accessible location.
Sure. And you know what? What are we not, if not both, you know, the center of our own universes and yet a microcosm in the larger one?
The ordering system was weird.
Okay.
Can we get into it?
Hey, let's get into it. This is what the podcast is all about.
Well, not
Rating
really.
Chain fast food restaurants.
I think there's another podcast that already does that.
I don't think there is one, but go ahead.
Okay. The ordering was weird. You walk up and it looks like you're just like walking. I would have imagined.
Okay, in the store,
the
Charles,
corner.
there was a huge arrow, a huge red arrow that says "Order here" that points to the start of the line.
Did not see that.
So this idea that you were somehow led into the line of fire with nothing is completely fatuous.
Well, I just feel like what you're looking at here is it's like you're going into a Subway, but then you would be ordering from like the gas station side of the Subway. I wanted all the action to be on the same side.
No, I like there to be a twist in any good story, and I want to start on one side and suddenly whirl around and realize that my whole perspective was 90 degrees off.
Yeah, much like we'll be getting into later. But yeah, the not a great experience tonight, other than the friendship.
The friendship is wonderful. Yeah, we definitely had, I want to say, maybe the C Squad on. I'm not trying to look, it's a tough job. I've worked in the food industry. It's not fun or easy.
Still do.
So I'm very sympathetic. That being said, the rolling of the burritos, I think, was subpar tonight.
Yeah, the dishing out of the chips was
he had a whole thing going on. The guy behind the counter was trying to get good chips for us, I think, but he was doing it in a very smashy, weird way.
All he got for me was crumbs. It's like the bottom of many bags were just dumped onto my burrito.
Yeah. Well, then we did get to improvise that later. I convinced Charles to put some of the crushed chips on his burrito. How did that turn out?
Not good.
Okay.
The problem was they were too big to be effective in that method.
Well, they weren't really crumbs. You were saying they were crumbs. They weren't really. They're shards.
Sure. Never used that term for a chip, but
it's a chip shard. Yeah.
Chip shard.
I thought we had made history just there with chip shard. This is good. We could just stop now. Quit while we're ahead.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have done that with Terminator. Am I right?
Don't get me started. Okay, but so I would, Hot Harry's is beloved to me. I'd also say a large part of that is because it's cheap, quick, and accessible. I think 3 forks is probably the fairest rating I can give.
I don't know if that's the fairest, but I'd say that's the highest.
Oh, look, they offer you mixed salad greens. They offer you chopped cilantro. They offer you a salsa vinaigrette. There's enough things going on there that I think you can dress up a pretty run-of-the-mill burrito with some interesting things, vegan or non-vegan.
They had tofu.
They had tofu.
They gave me you're supposed to choose either tofu or grilled vegetables. They let me
What'd you do, bad boy?
Let me have both.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
You sick fuck.
Yeah, she told me that. She's like, "You want fuck?" Yeah, she gave me a little. Her eyes lit up. She said, "You sick fuck,
She said, "Oh, you're a bad boy,
aren't ya?"
aren't you? A bad boy." And then made the splat noise. Yeah, that's good stuff.
No, yeah, she put the.
She dumped hot vegetables onto your genitals, and I was a little surprised at how it just was very.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sick fuck though.
Yeah,
She got me
fuck.
right.
So, what's your fork rating?
I'd say. So company excluded because I can have your company anytime I'm with you.
Sure,
Not really a part of the restaurant.
It's more of like an ambient quality to the experience.
but
it's not really in the forefront of the.
It comes
yeah.
with you. It has nothing to do with
Sure.
the restaurant. So if I'm just rating it just on the food, fork and a half.
Fork and a half, dude! Yikes! Well, that concludes our famous fork rating system, fast food
are you
chain
gonna
review
call
system.
that?
I don't know. We'll brainstorm about it. The fast boys who do fast food.
Yeah, the fast
Boys is good. Fast food boys, that's pretty good stuff. So okay, we'll get to what people really want to talk about. As Charles mentioned, we're recording this again so soon before release. It's kind of amazing.
It made me realize that we have recorded a bunch of episodes. We're ahead.
Great.
And much
because I don't want to do the thing you wanted to do earlier. I'm telling you this on mic. I don't want to do that.
You don't?
It is Sunday night.
Yeah, but
It has
came
been
all
a
this
long
way.
weekend. We will find another time to do it.
All right.
Maybe we can do it Sunday
You
or
never
something.
want to.
It's late. I want to go to bed.
You want to go to bed? It's only going to be 8.
It's dark out already. It's cold. The clock's leapt backwards today.
But we got an extra hour of sleep.
It still
Feeling
feels
refreshed.
like I'm being savagely
Do you want to at
beaten
least
by the
watch
seasons.
it?
We could maybe watch it.
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
My whole point was, I feel a bit like a Terminator.
Right,
Because-
we're in the future.
Right, we're in the we are in the present with knowledge of the future,
Yeah.
and I wish to Christ we could go forward in time, back in time, somewhere in time to tell us not to do what we have set out to do. But we've already done it.
Yeah, this is a mistake.
There's nothing we can do.
I don't want to spoil the next series. Oh no, we can do that. We can spoil.
Yeah,
the
well,
next
we'll
series
tell
now.
them.
Yeah, at
You want
the
to do it right
end.
now?
Yeah,
Let's do it at the end.
Okay, no, let's do it now.
All right.
We are currently enmeshed in another recording cycle for another series where we are, I will again note, as per our scheduling situation, very far ahead right now.
Yeah.
We have watched five. We have watched 5 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films for our next series.
We still don't know how to pronounce that
Tims.
phrase.
You'll get into it later on, people. Don't worry, it's gonna wild ride. And I thought it was a lot shorter, and oh boy, we learned a savage lesson, which I think yielded our best episode to date. But let's, again, enough of this. Let's get to what people want to talk about. And we're recording this. It's November 3rd. We just saw Terminator: Dark Fate, so let's get to everyone who wants to hear my review of Dead & Company's 2-night stand at Madison Square Garden on Halloween. Obviously it's iconic. The Dead at the Garden. It's a big balls out event.
How many times have they done that?
Over their
Too
history?
many to count? Yeah.
Oh God! Well, you could probably count pretty easily, but many times. But this is it's a storied tradition.
Right.
The psychedelic juggernaut of the Grateful Dead rolling into old Manhattan town. Ooh, is there a dose in the punch this Halloween?
Yeah.
Oh no! Grateful Dead
what is
such
the
a
dose?
spooky name.
A dose of what?
LSD,
Yeah.
baby, drugs.
Do you think it's just LSD?
Oh God, 2019. Hey, I'll tell you what. Whatever Drumpf is taken, I'll have some of that.
You'll have two of them.
Why? Why two?
I don't know. Just double it.
Because that guy is terrippin'. He is high in his own supply.
He is?
He is on Planet Wackadoo, and I'll have 2 tickets there, please.
You want to go where he's going?
It seems like he's having fun, whatever he's doing.
It's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's having fun at the expense of everybody else.
But we're talking days into Boogate, where people are the right wing media and everyone else is debating whether or not Trump has been booed deafeningly at the last 2 sporting events he's went to.
Yeah, I saw.
And video evidence would indicate yes.
Uh-huh.
The Trump family and Fox News would say no.
How do you say no when there's recordings of people literally chanting, throw him in jail or something?
Lock him up at the
Lock
Nationals
him
game.
up.
And
Yeah.
look, if you're listening out there,
And you're Trump.
leave. No. This is to the rude sports fans. Leave politics out of the president.
Out of the president.
If he's around, just shut up.
Yeah, just look at him.
Just like he's there. Just fucking...
He's just enjoying the
just
game.
ignore him and stare forward.
Yeah.
No one mentioned the fucking elephant in the room and just look at the game.
Right. That's
you
why
paid for the fucking game.
You know, they did it with Allen and Bush, too.
Yeah.
Just leave them alone.
They're having fun in the Billionaires
He's
Club.
fucking rich. Just like people that can murder people and do whatever
who
they
booze?
want.
You know these socialists and the Bernies, they're jealous. It's just jealousy.
Yeah. You know, if they had money, they would do
They'd
it
be
too.
having fun. They'd be hanging out with fucking H-dubs.
Yeah.
Or Dubs. Who knows? One of them's dead. His dad's dead. His daddy dead.
I can't believe they're all alive. I feel like if
His daddy was a groper, a wheelchair groper. Look it up.
if you become president,
Yeah. You should go to jail.
You should be just killed when your terms are up.
Oh, that's actually, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be like, I'm doing this for the service of the country.
It would
And then
definitely
just
weed out
out.
a lot. Most of the most noxious people involved in the process if they promised to die afterward.
Right.
Also, it'd make re-election campaigns fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Please, I don't want to fucking die. I don't want to fucking die. Please don't kill me. Please. The question was about tariffs. Tariffs. Anyway,
That's
so
a
of
good
course,
future. Better than the future we just witnessed today.
sure. And which feature was it? We'll get into that in a
We
minute.
don't know.
On Dark Fate, but before then, again, I must, for the fans, talk
I'm so
about my
sorry.
experience seeing
Yeah.
Dead and Company at Madison Square Garden for 2 nights in a row.
You saw them both nights.
I sure did. Thursday, Friday. And it was, of course, the first show they played since the death of Robert Hunter, famed lyricist of the Grateful Dead.
Oh.
And they opened with an acoustic Ripple, Shakedown Street, Bertha, Loser, They Love Each Other, Tennessee Jet, Terrapin Station, closing out the set. A first set, Terrapin? Are you crazy? And I bet you're wondering, hey, what are those songs got in common? Robert Hunter wrote all of them. It's a beautiful tribute.
Wait, so that was all what?
The all songs written by Robert Hunter.
I know, but so those were all played in a row at the
That was the
beginning of
first
show?
set, yes.
Wait, there's multiple
They
sets.
played 2 sets a night, baby. They
And
take a little break on them, but only
Wait,
when
how
they
many
come back
songs
out.
did you just list?
They played a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. 6 is the number of Terminator movies. 7, 8 in the first set. That was like an hour,
was like
and
an
10
hour and a
minutes,
half?
hour and a
Yeah.
half maybe.
Hell yeah.
Then Billy and Mickey, the Rhythm Devils, came out and they horned O'Teal, made him an official Rhythm Devil. It was kind of crazy. Second set also getting a little gooey with a playing right into Truckin'. Mamma Mia from Truckin' and Uncle John's Band. Don't get me started. A little O'Teal China Doll, not so bad. Eyes of the World. Wake up to find out that you are the dark fate of Terminator. O'Teal bass solo. It was killer. Drum Space, The Wheel, Standing on the Moon, Sugar Magnolia, and a cover of Werewolves of London to close out the night. Wow.
Really?
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Happy Halloween, they
Happy
said.
Halloween indeed.
Yeah.
Or as I said, oh my God, I'm sweating and I can't stop grinding my teeth.
What'd you dress up as?
I dressed up as like a black metal dude. I put on corpse paint and a wig and a Gorgoroth t-shirt and a leather jacket.
That's
and
fun.
My friend Wes went as my manager,
Right.
P. Fenderbrook Fiend or something. It was really funny. It's a good name.
That is funny.
Night 2, I think the energy was a little off. I enjoyed it and it wasn't quite as good. I won't go through the whole list.
Why not?
Okay,
they
let's
love
do
it.
it.
The fans love it.
You know,
That's
the
what they're
fans-
here for.
When people tune in to the Terminator Dark Fate episode,
Yeah.
what they want is our patented fork review rating system for a Berkshire County specific burrito chain
Yeah.
that is widely panned as being not very good,
By me.
and many others.
Yeah.
And then they want to hear subsequently my analysis of 2 nights of Dead and Company.
And by analysis means reading the set list from your
I
phone.
offered a little bit of grit and texture.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mentioned the thing with O'Teal getting horned up. It was wild.
I mean, I would say, to
Okay.
go back to our previous segment,
The fork rating thing?
yeah, better than Chipotle.
That's actually a crazy person thing.
I thought it was tastier than Chipotle. Last few times
I
I've been,
love their chicken at Hot Harry's, but it is dog food.
I mean, I don't eat chicken. I'm a vegan.
Everyone get that?
I'm a vegan.
Charles is a vegan. A congested vegan, too. Fuck
Well,
me, man.
you know when you have like bad Mexican food, it just
It just
gets
fucking
like
all shit up, yeah.
it's like causes phlegm.
And hey, let's get into another segment. We'll get back to the Dead and Company thing. Don't
What?
worry. We did also enjoy a little bit of men's yoga with Lori today. Like most podcasters, between recording an episode and watching the 6th Terminator film, we did get some cleansing breath going.
We did.
We did a lot of shoulder unlocking stuff.
You always choose shoulder. I've
Because
only,
my shoulders are fucked up.
only been twice, but you choose. Yeah, mine are 2 right now. God damn it!
You're
I thought he
welcome.
fixed me. I thought Lori fixed me.
Lori gives us the tools to fix ourselves.
Oh my god, that's so beautiful.
Namaste.
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 Namsty.
Namaste.
Namsty.
Namst.
Namsty.
Eh?
Am I-
Namaste.
Nah.
Namaste.
So what was the second set?
Oh, the second set. Yeah. Well, this is the second show. First set.
Sorry. First set, second
sound
show.
like a fucking idiot when
It sounds like tennis.
It's, I mean, in a way, in that if you don't know what's going on, it's extraordinarily boring. And I think Dead & Company is like tennis.
I feel like tennis was mostly fun for people because they could have a scoring rule system that made no sense that they could learn and then explain it to other people.
I mean, most sports, when you really dig into the minutia, are so ludicrously complicated for reasons that are like they only exist to support themselves. I guess
Yeah,
but there's
but
the
this
thing,
is
Mary
so-
Shelley in The Last Man, she says all of logic in society itself is built upon that very same gentleman's agreement. That if that is broken, logic itself means nothing.
Mary, bravo.
People hated that book when it came out.
What book?
The Last Man.
I haven't read it.
Yeah, it was written during the height of like British progressivism when when that at the time didn't mean socialists trying to get free healthcare.
No.
Yeah, I like my healthcare. I love my private healthcare provider.
That's
I
true.
love it.
Yeah.
I
don't
want
want
to
that to go away.
choose between people. I don't want to have like. Don't promise me anything. Let me figure out what I can fight for with the least amount of money.
Yeah.
That's a system everyone likes.
Oh, you know what's also cool about this system?
What?
Is even if you have finally chosen one and you sort of have to pay for it and you sort of, I don't know, it's complicated, you then can go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you what you're going to have to pay for and what they're going to pay for until after you go.
Oh, yeah. Look.
So that's cool. So then you get home and then a week later you get a piece of the mail saying, oh, well, we're not going to pay for any of this unless you talk to us. And I don't want to do that. So then I don't.
Well, okay. One of the best parts of the thrill of our current healthcare system that I love, and thank you, Pete Buttigieg and Biden and the fucking heroes out there fighting a good fight. Medicare for all is for fucking loser idiot. Like they want handouts. No, thank you. I don't work to make almost $40,000 a year, working like 60 hours a week to not have the fun of calling billing agencies to figure out what has been covered by the plan and what hasn't been covered and why I'm being given several pieces of different information about what I owe to several different groups of people.
Yep.
And when I'm done calling and emailing all of them, I have some sense of maybe who I can start to pay off before it goes to collections.
Yeah.
At which point a fourth group comes into the picture, and it's kind of fun. It's like fun to meet people, all of whom demand money from you.
That's true.
Right.
And also, like, think about unemployment. Think about if we got rid of this system, how many people would just... We saw it tonight.
Yeah.
The opening couple scenes. I'm going to skip a little bit into turn.
No,
Dip our
no,
little
no, no, no,
toes.
No, don't skip the beginning of Dark Fate.
No, that's where I'm starting. I'm just
Okay.
saying, I'm skipping your dead thing for a little bit. I'm going to dip our little toes in.
Okay, we have to get back to that though. People,
I know, but I just wanted to say...
listeners, we're going to get back to
this
that
is
company show
relevant.
that I went to. Okay, go ahead.
Terminator 6, Terminator Dark Fate, bravely, much in the shadow of Genesis,
Right.
somehow predicting the evils of technology in the year 2017.
Well, you'll forgive me, and I'm sorry to do a tangent. Everyone's on their damn devices.
Right.
And in
How
Genesis,
could they know that? That was
and in
insane.
Genesis, because everyone's on their damn devices, the world ends.
Right.
Because everyone's on their damn devices.
So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Much in the same way that, let's say, Bernie wins.
Yeah,
That'd be
a
silly.
nightmare. Okay, so here's my Terminator 7. Okay, it's the future or whatever, and they're fighting Terminators and stuff. And someone, there's a child who's like, "Oh, mommy, how did Terminators take over?" And they're like, "That was the day Bernie Sanders won. The next day,
They're all in Britain?
the next, the next day, we all had free healthcare. Then." And the Terminators came and killed us all.
Oh, wow.
Yes, me lord.
But this movie is bravely going into lots of places. We're going to start with
Mexico.
robots
Oh, sorry.
taking over our jobs.
Oh my God, these dang robots.
Wow, 2019, we're now
Yeah.
predicting robots taking over our jobs.
Robots taking
And
over
can you
our dang
imagine if we got
jobs,
rid of this elaborate system of insurance providers and collections agencies? All those jobs would just slip away.
Yeah, okay, so Bernie, the whack job socialist from Vermont, thinks that he wants to get healthcare workers fired now? Huh? I thought you liked workers, Bernie.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, Bernie, what happened to that? Isn't that hypocritical?
I
Bernie?
read an article on NPR that spent 8 paragraphs discussing how cool Elizabeth Warren is, and then one
she's the
paragraph
coolest.
near the end of the article that said Bernie Sanders was the only candidate to use notes.
That's disgusting.
Isn't that incredible?
If he's not just making shit up on stage and spouting out things that were told him by aides, What is he doing?
Yeah.
And by the way, everyone dumps on Elizabeth Warren for formerly being a Republican and lying about being Cherokee for literally her entire life to an unbelievable amount of acclaim until very recently when she sort of sidestepped the issue entirely and tried to play it off like she was a 1/32 Cherokee, so if that means anything.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's absolutely no way to excuse any of that behavior.
Yeah.
And it's decades of repeated scam used to perpetuate myths. And it's weird that anyone would ever defend that any adult human would wake up in the morning and say, oh, no, that happens all the time.
Wow, we're getting real political on the show today.
But anyways, I'll have what Trump's having. Because, ooh, he's having
You know what they
fun.
say? Let's take the politics out of the podcast.
And put the tiny hands back in the Terminator Dark Fate. But we'll have to keep a tiny orange pinky in that because we got to get back to the more important thing. So night 2, I'm partying less hard night 2 at the Garden. And it seems like the boys are kind of warming up themselves a little bit. We start with a little cold rain and snow. Brr.
That's the name of a song?
Cold, yeah, rain and snow. After that, Hell in a Bucket. Not my favorite song. Row Jimmy, a really slow Row Jimmy with old John Mayer taking the front, Row Jimmy, row. It's good stuff. Okay, give me a look. Ramble on Rose, that's great. Mississippi Half Step, Uptown Toodaloo, love that song. Mr. Charlie, not a Big Pen Era fan. I'll level with you. Please don't at me. Don't at me. Don't at me. Friend of the Devil with Maggie Rogers, special guest. I was schwitzing.
You were schwitzing.
I was felling and schwitzing. After that bird song and the end of first set, pretty solid bird song, a little gooey bird song. It gets a little Dark Star vibe feeling. We take a set break. We come back to a classic duo, Scarlet Begonia into Fire on the Mountain, which is again an O'Teal moment to sing. And let O'Teal sing and turn up, Jeff. After that, we got a little bit of a he's gone, and nothing gonna bring her back. After that, China Cat into I Know You Rider, another classic of the band's oeuvre. We're almost done. Drum Space, pretty good stuff. We come out of that into Althea, kind of a classic Jerry song that John's made into his own, and he laid the stank down tonight. Ooh. All night he was flying off the handle. But was he flying off even more on Morning Dew? I think he did. A pretty thrilling conclusion to the main part of the second set. And then we take a little deep breath break. We come back, and what do they hit us with? The Weight. Take a load off Annie. Hey, take a load off Arnie. Take a load for free. Take a load off Arnie and put the load right on Danny. That's a Dark Fate fucking... Okay. And in the Weight, we got Maggie Rogers came back out for that, did a verse. Everyone loves it. We got Bobby doing falsetto. Jeff did a verse. We love it so much. And we close that with Broke Down Palace, which, if you think about both nights, frames the entire Halloween double show experience with the 2 classic Robert Hunter ballads, Ripple and Broke Down Palace, both written the same afternoon, 1970. It was a smash-up time. And I have to say, Charles, I'd do it again.
How many forks?
Oh, God, 5 forks.
Wow.
Loved it.
Easy.
Top to bottom. And that's the show, I think. Next week, Terminators.
No, we're not doing Terminator.
No, the musical. We're doing the musical Terminators.
Oh, right.
Come with me if you want to live.
Oh, my God.
I'll be back.
That reminded me of when they used that line, and they changed it for some reason. Why would you do that?
Come with me if you don't want to die in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
What a fucking memorable...
What a cool line.
Snappy line. Okay, so we have here a movie that I would describe as in the same canon of Wonder Woman, where a massive corporate entity produces a movie that is attempting to shove a woke message at you, but is so undercut by its ludicrous hypocrisy, reverse sleeper anti-feminism that's genuinely disgusting, and some really fascinating efforts to be more inclusive that just ultimately show exactly how fucking shitty and lame Hollywood is in its perception of women and Latinx people. This is a fucking awful movie, and I hated watching it.
Yeah, I think we've finally made it to a point where this is worse than Terminator 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I thought you said, I know this is totally out of nowhere, but I thought you said Furlong was in this.
Edward Furlong, I was told was in it, but we see child Edward Furlong in digital style. Okay, to give this movie some credit.
Yeah.
As far as fan service, we get to see Edward Furlong take a couple blasts of buckshot right to the chest. And I was like, fuck yeah.
I mean, they didn't really. They showed no bullets actually striking Furlong.
But we see his body.
We see his bloody body. It was a moment.
Pretty
we
good.
both stood.
We applauded.
We both unreclined our reclined theater chairs.
Beep,
it was like that scene in Up. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was
and
just
then
like
we
the
just
scene
stood
in
up and went, woo. he's finally dead.
Yeah, I was like, lock him up, lock him up.
No, you weren't.
I was like, lock her up, lock her.
Who?
Hillary. Hillary.
But yeah, that was
Epstein was murdered. Ghislaine Maxwell was in the front row of Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Go ahead. Yeah.
I did like that. That's true. Furlong was in it just to die. There's a lot to talk about here. It's all bad.
It's
I'm
all
not
bad.
sure.
Yeah.
This is like this is the thing with Terminator. We never quite know where to start.
Let's start. I'm gonna fucking blow your mind, bro. You ready for this, bro? You ready for this?
No.
You ready for this?
Stop it.
Let's start with the Terminator himself.
You want to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I like in this movie, in an effort to be inclusive, they make the Latino Terminator make his debut. It's a robot pretending to be a Mexican man, which is like, oh, okay. Well, they're making an effort to diversify a series that's largely been lily white and pretty, focused on a white narratives in America. Here's what they didn't think about later on down the road, which is that the entire movie is a cadre of women, 2 of whom are white, running away from a threatening Mexican man.
It's true.
And the optics of that, as the movie plays out, starts to feel like maybe it wasn't a brilliant solution to our current political climate where Mexicans are being demonized by and Central Americans and pretty much anyone who's not white are being so aggressively demonized by our government and
by all of our culture up until
the media
forever.
Right. So to ultimately make that choice to have a Latino man be the most violent murderous force in the universe who's like, I feel like that is a weird inclusivity gesture that ends up turning into an inclusivity failure.
Yeah, I think it's sort of hard. It's sort of difficult to be like, well, I want to make a movie and I just want it to be like, I want to just like give a role to someone that I think should have the role. But yeah, you're also dealing with
the optics
centuries
of othering.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Not only is he the villain of the movie who's like a threatening menace who sneaks into America to hurt white women.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like,
exactly. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And it's like, again, like many of the Terminators, he's given so little. Like going back to T2, a movie we love to take fat soul shits on.
I mean, it started it.
He started it.
Took fat shits on me.
Took fat shits on my whole life, pretty much. I blame everything that happened to me on James Cameron T2.
I mean, I don't. It seems sure. Why not?
Hey, James Cameron, take a load off Joshy. Take a load for free.
He's gonna HJ you?
No, the burden of the emotional burden of T2. No, yeah. So I'm saying most of the Terminators are given very little to do, so we're left with just like a stone-faced, terrifying Mexican man who's just churning through border security guards and like women, and that's not a great optic. I will say the coolest part of the movie is that he does fuck up a border camp, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, but again,
it's funny because remember they're like, "Where's the prisoners?" And the lady goes, "We call them detainees." And I'm like, "Oh, the woke is shit. This movie's so woke.
Whoa,
our borders are fucked up." Thanks, Terminator: Dark Fate.
Yeah,
the ultimate vehicle to discuss the situation at the southern border.
James Cameron has done this. We noted this in Terminator 2. Is like his obsession with writing dialogue that tells us what's happening right before our eyes.
Yes, certainly this movie is no exception in the Cameron oeuvre. And to be fair, there's a lot of dumb assholes attached to this movie. By the way, written by 3 men, credited screenwriters. So everyone out there's like, yay, it's a girl gang movie, and everyone's a girl boss. This is such a masculine product written for a lowest common denominator. And we'll get into that later. The end of this movie was so fucking insulting, yet again, to women in the Cameron verse. I was like actually appalled at how they chose to end this movie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the parallel is like the Rocky movies and with Creed, where it's like Rocky, like Sly. Let this be a black story. Let this be a story about Michael B. Jordan. Let it be a Ryan Coogler. Like let this now be a story about a young black man. And he's like, what if Sly had cancer? What if Rocky had cancer? And Rocky, you gotta save Rocky. Rocky's sick. I'm doing Pacino, I guess, but it's like no one wants that. This is Creed.
Cancer?
It's a no.
Of course not.
Let this story be about Michael B. Jordan and his journey as Creed, and having
Everyone
it be
wants
like,
that.
what if we turn back to what's up with Rocky now? It's like, let go, man.
I never saw Creed 2, but I wanted to.
It's not as good as Creed 1.
Yeah.
So in this movie, once again, it's about Arnold. After all the set dressing about women, and there's some interesting ideas crudely and poorly brought up in this movie.
So bad.
extremely clumsily.
We'll
We'll get to the central problem with the movie in a minute, which I think we both agree with. We have not talked about it, but I think we agree with the major problem this movie is. But the movie ends up being about Arnold, and it ends with Arnold saving the main female lead.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I thought you said we're going to talk about this later.
Nothing.
We're going to talk about it now.
The biggest part of the problem with the movie is Linda Hamilton, who is atrocious in this movie.
I'm so glad you finally recognize this.
Oh no, hold on.
Because she has not. If you go back and watch Terminator 2,
Okay.
there is no difference between her acting style then and now. The script is equally bad, though. I guess Terminator 2 maybe is a little bit better than this one in the script.
Yeah.
Like the potato chip talk and
the hiding her phone in the potato chips is fucking awful.
Also, like, why would they include the line? What do you think happened in the writers' room? So the scene where she's the Terminator, the new Terminator, the woman who had the enhanced
Grace. Yes.
Grace,
who is, I think, maybe the most successful performance with very little to go on. I think she generally, I'm going to look at her name.
Great performance, very bad character. But so Grace has powered down because they wrote a weird contrivance into the script that
She
after she
requires a
does
random injection
something
of stuff every now and then.
It's not clear what she has to do because she walks around a lot. She's strong a lot, but sometimes
she says like I can't really do, like I can only work in short spurts and I can push past.
But
that.
sometimes those spurts last a long time. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Oh, kind of like how the Goominator, my nickname for the new Terminator.
Yeah.
Sometimes he can leap through space with great distances.
Sure.
And other times he has to stand and watch people leave and then do something else after.
I call him the Cuminator.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you had a friend named Nader, it might be threatening.
The Cuminator?
Yeah, Cuminator. Like Ralph Nader. If you're friends with Ralph Nader,
wait,
Cuminator, come in Nader.
Oh, I get it.
It might sound.
I barely know her.
Or him. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow,
that
Charles.
joke doesn't work.
No, I think
So-
that's aged poorly as jokes go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking about. Oh yeah, the line where she's powered down. She needs her injection.
Mackenzie Davis.
Dude, see, there were so many cool things. They could have like made her become addicted to like whatever she needed. There were so many things they could have done, but they decided to do this. She's lying on a bed, covered in ice. You're not looking at me. I don't even
Just
know.
keep fucking talking.
I don't even know if you're listening to me.
Jesus Christ. You're
Are you
such a
listening
Terminator
to
Dark
me?
Fate about this. I am, but you stopped. Keep going.
Okay.
Jesus.
And then, what's the main Danny?
Danny
says,
who is played by Natalie Reyes, who is given not a lot to work with, and
No.
I feel bad for her because I think it hampers her performance.
Yeah.
Because the script is abysmal.
Danny says, "Why aren't we doing this in the bathtub?" And then Lyndall says, "Have you seen the bathtub?"
Right, and like
What was the point? Why did they include that?
that kind of like useless, like 10th rate chit chat, quip jabbering shit. They never rise above that. Her character says nothing fucking cool at any point in the movie. The only really good part of the movie you missed going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's where Arnold Schwarzenegger talks very earnestly about drapery and how to design a room with drapes.
That sounds incredible.
Yes.
Fuck.
It's during the scene where one of my favorite things in the movie happens where
Fuck. Why did I choose? I thought this was going to be like I was leaving during an action set piece because it was so boring. All of the action
Right.
sucks. So I was like, oh, the Terminator's back. He's probably going to go fight shit. I'm going to go piss right now. Which, letting you know, this is the first time I've pissed in a movie in the theater, I think, ever.
this is a 2-hour, 14-minute movie. I looked it up. It is boring.
Yeah.
There's so many problems. Okay, but what you missed was they're like, we had to get an EMP device, so another contrivance to kill the thing. Of course, there's always something else. And Lyndall Hamilton is like, I know a guy.
Yeah.
And the guy is a major in the U.S. Air Force who goes to a secret rendezvous with them in a warehouse dressed in his full fatigues. Mm-hmm. Did that not stick out to you as like a moment of, were you there for that?
I mean, I was there when he was like lying down.
Okay, he rolls up and gets out of his car for a secret mission to secretly give a government weapon to a known convict wearing his full uniform. And I was just like, this is this movie in a nutshell. Like there's just, I don't know why this offends me so much, but it's like this detail where it's like, he just shows up like fully dressed. Like I hated that. It was just like so stupid.
I know, and I think we've talked about this in the past where it's like, these sorts of things shouldn't matter, but when the movie gives you nothing all
Nothing
you're
to hold
left
on
with
to.
is just like to notice all these things. The movie is so boring.
Okay, so the movie has, beyond the main performances, which Arnold is like fine.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Yeah.
It's like at this point, it's hard to criticize. It's like criticizing your dad at this point for like white
shit.
men in their late 20s, early 30s, or probably older.
Gotta talk about my dad this episode.
Oh, Christ. We'll put a pin in that for now.
All right, but I did tease it 6 weeks from now.
Oh, that's a good point. Right.
So I got to make sure to do it.
Yeah, the reverse back in time
Or I
double
could not
twister.
do it and fuck with the timeline.
Okay, so you know what? We'll put a pin in how bad the direction is. This movie, almost every action scene is incomprehensible. The shooting sequences are dizzying and not in a good way. It's
Like
just
literally.
an ugly movie to look at. Things happen in a rapid succession, and it's extremely hard to piece together what the relationship is to everything else happening around it. It's bad. The script is abysmal. But let's talk about the story. Because we've talked a lot about how in the Terminator series, what makes Genesis such a fascinating disaster is that they're like, let's just dive into the time travel thing with such an enthusiasm that we're just going to fuck this story sideways.
Right.
Where whatever you thought you knew about the series is now blended into like a thick like slurry.
Yeah, it's that thing. It's the benefit to having a franchise where it's like, all right, it's number 5.
Let's have fun in the sandbox.
Let's fuck around with this shit. Let's remake a scene from the first movie, and like, yeah,
it's fun on paper, but in reality, it's like, no, this is just literally a rehash. We don't need that.
No.
So this movie does a few things that are mesmerizingly dumb and are so insulting. If you've actually slogged your way through 5 of these movies, 2 of which are good, this is so stupid. 1, so Sarah did save John Connor in T2.
Yeah.
But he then immediately is killed again by a different Arnold Schwarzenegger like a year later.
So what I think,
right?
From
Is
what
that the story?
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
honestly?
So
They're like, okay, so he survives that movie and then immediately dies in this movie by a different Terminator we have no relationship to.
So my understanding of the movie, they got rid of everything 3, 4, and 5, so those don't matter anymore. My understanding is that the actions in 2 ended up. So the first one is they just needed to survive. That was their victory, was survival. And the second one, they were like, well, this can keep happening, so we need to stop it from happening. And
before it happens.
They blow up Skynet.
Yeah.
So for them, that was actually solving the problem, and no longer the future doesn't exist.
But then another Arnold comes back
I love their explanation.
and kills John Connor again.
I think she said like lost in time.
Right. It's
though, like,
the flimsiest, dumbest thing in the fucking world. We see it in a flashback.
Yeah.
So then John Connor is now dead in this storyline from
Which
minute
ruled.
5 of this movie.
That was the best.
It was great. We got to watch Edward Furlong die, which was a wonderful experience.
I've seen it many times in my dreams, in the margins of my notebooks, but it was really nice to see it on the big screen.
Now, if I could, just offer them an edit. What if the movie was 5 minutes into the movie, it's the same, okay, and then Furlong gets shot,
Yeah.
and then the next 2 hours and 10 minutes is just Schwarzenegger pumping rounds into Furlong's corpse.
That'd be incredible.
I would have bought that
That'd
on
be incredible.
Blu-ray
You would have?
the second it was over.
They don't do it that way. There's at least like 3 to 6 months wait.
It's probably on VOD pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
You have to keep
So that's-
keep buying it every day on VOD.
yeah, over and over again. Yeah.
Wow,
You
just
can
don't-
buy it in perpetuity, dog.
On VOD?
Video on demand. It's multiple platforms offer video on demand.
Right. Oh, that's true. Like Voodoo.
Voodoo. We'll never use it again. I'm over Voodoo.
Yeah, it's like
Fuck you, Voodoo. Anyways, so that's one.
wow, is
so
Voodoo on the fuck off list?
yeah, Voodoo.
Wow.
Welcome to the fuck off lift. You, Jimmy Cameron,
Mike Myers. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. So that's the first thing to do where you're like, what the fuck? Like, why even go into this effort to make these movies, to make a sequel where you immediately wipe out the entire premise of the movie before it instantly?
Yeah.
What you're saying is that movie was stupid and we had to start from scratch again.
Right.
That's an admission of a mistake.
And there was one scene that was poorly shot of Lyndall going, I don't even know what his face looks like anymore. And then the new character that we know nothing about or care about says, that sucks. And that was it. That was the entire moment of sharing grief.
Even worse, the movie forces us to accept that Sarah Connor has forgiven and now respects the Terminator who killed her son by the end of the movie.
Yes.
Which is so staggeringly inhuman and awful and fucked up. And, of course, they do the whole, like, just so you know, I don't like you. And the second this is done, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to pop it.
They instead, like, remove that. The one interesting idea in this movie is that Sarah Connor sees the Terminator who killed her son have the life that she was denied. It's the one interesting thing in the movie.
Yeah, and they don't play it at all.
What they do is they put it on the ground.
Yeah.
And the men who wrote this movie get in a circle around it. They pull their khakis down.
Josh is doing this right in front of me.
They jut their asses out. And what they do is they like unleash a torrid like sludge whirlwind of just liquid shit into the mouth of that idea.
Wow. And is it next to Furlong's body?
Yeah, which is now splattered with liquid shit. So again, the one idea is like, oh yeah, Sarah, like how could she ever forgive the man who killed her son? As a mother, as like someone who has like, it's like the most cardinal sin is to take the life of someone's child before their own. Like it's in every work of fiction, every religious tract. The most central part of humanity is protecting our young. And at the end of this movie, they force us to look at Sarah like honorably and respectfully being like, I guess that Terminator wasn't so bad after all.
You know why?
Because he learned to love.
No, because he saved the life of this woman that I don't know. Because she couldn't do it by herself.
It's like,
wow.
It's going back to Wonder Woman, where people were like, it's just great to have a lady hero. It's like, okay, in the movie where kind of like Django and the white character, the man in Wonder Woman is given the real emotional arc, where Chris Pine's sacrifice is the motivating, incentivizing thing that drives her to achieve greatness.
Right,
it's like
still.
His decision to sacrifice his life is what motivates her to be a hero, which is fucking shitty.
Yes.
And then like Christoph Waltz and Django, his character has an arc who makes a decision, and that decision like forces Django. It's the same kind of like blinders white people Hollywood bullshit where like we're giving a girl hero inspired by a man. Oh, Jamie Foxx, like what if the slaves killed the owners, but inspired by a white guy?
Yeah.
And it's like this fucking sucks.
It does suck.
Cut this shit out.
And it's not even like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It makes the medicine not work.
Right. The whole premise of this being a female-driven entry into a series, or like, again, earlier in the film, they talk about how women are reduced to their wombs and reduced to like being mothers to heroes who are men, which again is written extraordinarily poorly.
It's so bad. Because then they just undercut it later by having that be the twist. Did anyone think
that Danny is the hero? Of course, I called that shit.
Of course, everyone did.
I mean,
everyone was like writing to their bookies, being like, "Pay me out. I got this one."
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, but like, so they tried to have both. The phrase, is this a cake and eat it too thing?
Yes, this is a classic cake and eat it too thing.
Where you like write dialogue about like how men are just afraid of your womb. And then 2 scenes later be like, oh, but you're actually the powerful one, so they're afraid of your boot heel as well. But they're not as... So are they no longer afraid of the womb? Or can you have both?
They just write this shit to score cheap points and then undercut that empty, shallow, dim examination of a complicated idea. Also, this movie, for a movie written and conceived by men, all of these scenes where women talk to each other are written the way men in their 40s think women talk to each other, and it sucks. There are so many talented women who make movies, who write movies, who star in movies, and if you walk into Terminator Dark Fate being like, wow, girl boss, girl gang, you're a fucking idiot.
You're an idiot. And if you're listening and you thought that, we hate you. You're an idiot.
Yeah, like, don't at us.
Yeah. Do you think James Cameron and Tim Miller, whoever fucking wrote this movie, like docked after they were like wrote the word womb into their screenplay? I'm like, fuck yeah, we're 2 dudes. We just wrote womb. No man's ever said womb before. We're gonna go down in history as the Womb Brothers.
We said womb. No one says womb. No one's ever said womb. It's a terrible. It's one of those like MB words that no one likes to say.
It's so true.
You know?
Yeah. Like
God,
limb.
It's
like limb spin?
Like limb spin, exactly.
No one likes to say that.
It's like, if you want to tell a compelling story about a woman, why don't you have women write it, women produce it, and women direct it? Not have James Cameron once again create what he thinks
misogynist
tough women talk like.
Yeah,
and then have an older man come in and help them out and save the day.
Oh.
Holy shit.
The ending scene where they're all dressed in leather and she throws the keys at her.
Yeah,
as though like
a pure 1994
like dude thing.
God damn it.
Just Photoshop what's his name's head, Mike, the Mission Impossible dude's head on there.
Ethan Hunt?
Top Gun.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Like that's just like a 90s Tom Cruise. Like throw that man some keys, baby. And he snatches them in slow motion.
Okay, so let's talk about another. I think we've covered how incredibly stupid the politics of this movie are, and how
we
shitty
haven't really. We've briefly talked about it. I think I mean, we could talk forever about that.
Okay, let me say, to its credit, I admire in 2019 that a major studio film attempted to address something about contemporary
I
Mexican
don't.
life.
I disagree.
Well, it does it very poorly.
For that reason, I think everyone who's like, oh man, Nike made this cool commercial about whatever. It's like they just want your fucking money. There's no such thing as a compassionate business unless they're like tiny and actually do good in the world. Like Nike making a commercial, fucking James Cameron Corp making a movie about internment camps.
Okay, but what I'm saying
cool.
is this. I think it's done poorly. I'm not arguing with that.
I think
I'm just
doing
saying,
it at all is not cool.
Look, I'm not arguing
It's
with
capitalism.
You.
It's saying like using what they think woke millennials will like to see to sell moving tickets.
It's definitely a ploy in that regard. I'm just saying that is a situation that is often completely invisible to anything outside of the news, and it's just interesting to see some attempt made to depict it. Again, I think it's contrived. I think it's cynical. I'm just saying, I thought like the scene of them getting on the train is probably one of the few cool shots in the movie. Of them,
everyone was on their gosh darn phones, though.
Yeah, these Mexicans trying to sneak into America were on their gosh darn devices.
Gosh darn
If they haven't seen Genesis, Terminator, Genesis, they should
5.
see it 5. They should really see it. They'd learn something from a great movie that makes sense.
My favorite scene of the movie, my favorite scene in the movie was Furlong getting shot.
Hard to fuck with that.
Number 2, when Lyndall throws Danny's phone out the window.
Because Danny's one of these gosh darn millennials, always on her device, and Lyndall's like, no more device.
Gosh darn you.
I'll be back. All the action in this is pretty forgettable and bad. The Terminator is just goopy.
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about... So Sicario, perhaps, is the only movie I can think of that uses an accurate lighting situation for like a nighttime raid where you can actually follow it. And it's cool and it's tense and it works.
And Gemini Man. Continue.
Yes. Actually, I thought of Gemini Man while I was watching this movie too, where it's like this movie has multiple scenes. One of them, actually a lot of scenes at dark, nighttime. And I think they just used it because they wanted to cheap out on CGI effects so that we wouldn't actually get to see anything. Like, it looks so bad.
There are 2 major sequences in this movie that are so awful to look at, it's astonishing. The nighttime climax of the film where the planes crash into the Hoover Dam and they drive a Humvee underwater and then they end up in yet another industrial thing because God forbid we ever not do that. That shit was so boring and stupid.
Yeah, and you couldn't see anything.
Yeah. Also, like another Michael Bay production, we're mixing up our own timelines here because we were talking Michael Bay and another.
Whoa, wait, is this Josh from the future popping in?
Don't go in there.
The Turtleverse, you say?
The Turtleverse, yes. The Turtleverse, to take a step from the Turtleverse into the Transformerverse.
Oh, wow.
There's that movie probably features the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
And it's like, I believe it's like the location of a secret Transformer thing or something. Spoiler.
Whoa.
But it's like, no one knows the Hoover Dam anymore. Like, it's 2019.
Yeah.
We're all eating ass and vaping. You know, no one's like, oh, it's a big dam. No one fucking cares.
This script feels like a Gemini Man script where it was like unearthed from the 90s.
Right.
James Cameron was like, oh, let's do this anyway. I wrote it. It's gold. Let's fucking finish this shit.
You know what's on the tip of our tongues in 2019? The Hoover Dam, which we'll just cut to. And now we're at the Hoover Dam.
Such
like,
a 90s
what the fuck
shit.
is this?
I needed just like a little military script. Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay, so
shit.
Yes, looking at this movie sucks. It sucks to look at it with your eyes. I want to talk about something else about the story that drove me so crazy. So once again, having Edward Furlong survive all of T2 to be killed instantly in what has become the successor sequel to it is already stupid and lazy and shows that it's so undercut instantly by the fact that they don't want Edward Furlong near this in his contemporary form.
Get that man a pile of cocaine.
Here was another choice they made in the movie. And if you've seen it and didn't hate this, you're also an idiot.
Yeah.
So,
can't wait.
As you recall from T2, the greatest action film of the 90s,
All time.
bad guys is Skynet, Skynet is robots, Skynet robots is kill us.
Skynet is Genesis.
In this movie, big twist.
Oh, yeah.
Big twist. No, this is good. It's not Skynet now.
What? What? How am I supposed to follow this?
It's now the same thing.
What?
But different name.
What's it called this time?
Legion. So, just to be clear, old movie.
Okay.
Skynet.
Yeah.
This movie, no more Skynet.
Why not?
But we know what the difference is between Skynet and Legion?
No, tell me.
Literally nothing.
Oh.
There is nothing, zero, nothing different. Same fucking dumb boats, same Terminators, same exact situation, but the name is different. Begging the question, why even do that if nothing is different?
In the same way we asked in 5, why do they keep saying Genesis is Skynet when
You could just
call it
have it be
Skynet?
Skynet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the thin veneer that there's anything new or interesting about this film would be blown away, and we'd realize, oh, it's the same stupid thing with a new name. Because spoiler, that's the whole movie.
Yeah,
It's another sexist, reductive, regressive, boring, poorly made corporate product that insults everyone involved in it with a slightly different name. And this movie fucking sucks.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh yeah, we were thinking earlier that's like, well, Terminator 4 had a really interesting like semi-human Terminator. And maybe one cool thing from this is that they'll have seen that movie probably, and maybe they'll take stuff from it, maybe they'll do something better with it, but they will have a partially human, partially augmented Terminator.
Grace, the aforementioned Grace, who's the of the two requisite flashing back from time people in this movie. There's,
And she even has a thing where her robot, or like the fact that she is a robot, makes her weak. Like she has problems. There is something about there. Maybe they'll have a cool story about a woman / Terminator having to deal with having a Terminator inside of her. No.
Nope. They don't touch that at all. She keeps
even
saying, I'm a human. I'm just augmented.
Yep.
As if to say, like, oh, yes, there is a conversation to be had there. We're not going to have it.
Yeah.
And once again, you're just left being like, why introduce this stuff? Then only strip it for parts and leave this husk of a thing behind.
Right. Like the same thing with the Furlong's death. Like, why have this? Like, he could have survived. If they're not going to do anything with a mother losing her child, don't put it in the movie. If you're not going to have this woman absolutely hate and have to like either live to forgive or actually enact vengeance or do something with the story rather than be like looking over a hole, being like, okay, I guess he saved my woman friend again.
Well,
cool.
I think that's an important note you made. It's not like Sarah has to kill Arnie to like close the circle. I don't think that like you don't just write. That would be also very lazy if you just like, but there has to be something there.
Yeah.
And they just don't do it. They allow it to be suggested alone that his bravery redeems him of committing this unthinkable act against
I have
this
a
woman.
family now. We do not fuck. She does not want my dick inside of her. She just wants me to change the diaper.
Right. So again, another thing to do in this movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger is now Bay. He's daddy. He has a son and a wife. Of course, we learn so much about them, and they're so interesting. No, she's battered and needed a man to save her, and he saved her. Good stuff. Good movie.
Stuff. American saving.
Girl Boss. This is a girl gang movie.
Oh my God.
It's for fierce girl gang people.
How many girls are in this movie?
Oh, such a gang of them. It's a whole gang of girls, and it's great. And Arnold Schwarzenegger helps the battered woman, and they never fuck. And he's like, she has not noticed I am a robot ever. Don't worry. Just don't interrogate that. It's fine. It's been like 30 years.
I mean, honestly, that was like the only good thing is that you could mistake a father's inability to know how to treat a wife and a son. And it's like really because he's just a robot.
Right. Again, like
that's
that's
an
the
interesting
joke at the
idea.
end of the world's end. Remember?
Yeah.
When the replicated version of Michael Palin goes back to his family and they don't even notice he's changed.
Yeah.
It's like a brilliant Edgar Wright kink style joke about like
dads,
corporate culture and like masculine roles and like people just like sinking into like being self-parody because there's nothing left to them because the world sucked at everything else that's in there. That's good stuff. And this movie's like, I am just a very good husband.
I changed the diaper.
On Sunday, I make pancake, maple syrup. It's also, this movie was a fucking raging Second Amendment NRA jerk off where Schwarzenegger's like, in the future, I will require guns to survive. The Second Amendment is a right that must never be taken from us. Never mess with Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas.
Except for my dick, which is not needed.
I do not need a dick. I have 20,000 guns. What else could I possibly desire? A loveless relationship and guns. Just Texas.
It seems... It's just like it's so unimportant. Everything in this movie is so unimportant.
Yeah. Again, to get back to what we're talking about from the political side of things, they try to raise these issues in an era of like American fascism targeted towards the most vulnerable migrants in the world who are being flagellated in public for the satisfaction of white voters who are terrified. We have the Me Too movement who's addressing like power structures in Hollywood and the way women are systematically abused by a system that completely ignored it until extremely recently. And this movie lofts these up in the air and then whiffs at both of them so hard the bat goes flying and then kills a female migrant at the border. Like, oh, whoops, sorry. Gee, well, we tried.
Ugh.
And it's like, no, this fucking sucks.
Well, that's the thing is I don't think they even tried. I think you are giving them way more credit than they deserve. I think they're just tapping in. I think they just see they see a maple tree and like, ooh, there's some nice old maple honey in there.
Hold on. Maple and honey are two different things, too. That sap
Wait, you don't call syrup maple honey?
No one calls it that.
What? The maple honey.
Fucking Terminator over there. A robot man.
What do you think? I learned it was maple honey.
Beep, 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 beep.
Anyway, they just like they saw, oh man, Trump's keeping families apart and imprisoning people and murdering them on the border, and oh, people like girls now, but they can't. We don't want to call them girls, but it's so confusing to us man brains. Yeah. But we'll use it.
There is a great moment where Schwarzenegger turns to the camera and just says, "Orange man, tiny hands."
Mm. Do you think Cameron you know that story where he's in the meeting with the whiteboard, or is it a chalkboard?
And writes alien to the dollar sign.
Yeah, you just finished the story for me.
You're welcome.
Right.
No, I think you're dead right.
That's basically what he went into a new meeting. He was like, all right, so got to have women in it because for some reason people like that nowadays. And I guess I saw something about people getting murdered and brutally separated from their families and children dying. So maybe we should throw that in there too. And I think that's a good roundup of 2018 culture. And yeah, great. We'll sell some movie tickets. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. A dollar sign, eyeballs green.
Come with me if you want to make a shitload of money.
Yeah.
That's why this time he said that to them.
That's probably what he wrote on the board.
And they're like, fuck.
He probably wrote that on the board.
Should we read the script? And they're like, no, let's just do this thing.
Yeah.
It's Jamie Cameron.
Jimmy.
Story by. So, I think you're right. I guess now that I'm revising my analysis of this a little bit, I'll say he wrote a bad sequel to T2 in 1994 and was like, forget about it. And then they're like, hey, we want to do another one. He's like, I have this thing I wrote so long ago. Just punch it up a little bit and just run with that. And they're like, yeah, great, done.
Wait, it says the Hoover Dam. Nah, don't worry about it.
Leave it in. That has to stay. That must stay. You can't take that shit out. This movie's great because at the end, you're like, oh no, Arnold's died. And now the girls are so helpless they can't win. Uh-oh, they're going to die now because the violent Latino man's going to just slaughter them. What a good movie. And then in a good move that is great and good for movies and a good movie-making move, the Terminator good guy, Terminator Arnie, is just fine. He just is fine again and is reborn, does the saving thing, and then dies again.
You know what could have been cool?
Yeah.
There's so many things. God, how am I coming up with all these cool things? But one of them, I thought every time the new Rev 9 or whatever touched...
Yeah, a good name for the new Goominator.
They should have gone with Cuminator or Goominator. Every time...
Cuminator, I barely know them.
Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
I just won the woke Olympics.
Every time he touched Arnie, I was like, why didn't he just... absorb Arnie?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, that would have been good because now we're like...
Don't they tease that idea, sort of? But it's not
sort of.
clear.
It was at the bottom of the Hoover Dam because nothing was clear at the bottom of the Hoover Dam because it was under dark water. But anyway...
Wait, hold on. Under dark water, the Sarah Michelle Gellar horror movie?
No,
where the water drips from the ceiling in the apartment building?
No, Dark Water, the new movie about the guy who's a lawyer for companies starring the Hulk.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Marky Roof.
Okay,
you're telling me the Terminator is a Latino man? Wow, that's so inclusive. Wow.
Wait, have you drunk the water? That's like eating a goddamn tire. The trailer looks like a fucking SNL joke.
Here's the thing. If this is a movie that will require Mark Ruffalo to deliver a series of impassioned monologues,
questions,
I will go see it 11,000 times. Mark Ruffalo is an American hero. He's been freed from Marvel, I think.
Yeah.
I'm certain he will return, but I think he's given a little Marvel break to do other stuff now.
I know. It's
like Dinklage with Game of Thrones jail. It's like, thank Christ.
I know, isn't it? I know I think, disagree on this, but for me, you see a Robert Pattinson. Is it Pattinson?
Pattinson.
You see a Robert Pattinson. He's fucking embroiled in Twilight bullshit for 5 years or whatever it is. He's out. He makes a Safdie Brothers movie. He makes The Lighthouse. He makes all this weird shit.
The King on Netflix, which I'm really excited about. It looks amazing.
Then we have fucking Robert Downey Jr., who fucking goes from Disney owning his soul, having to be Iron Man for 15 years, to becoming Disney's Dr. Dolittle.
By the way, if you have not yet seen the Dolittle trailer, it legitimately looks so spectacularly bad that even the trailer does not know how to pretend that what's happening is not total horseshit. The glimpses we get of his performance in the trailer, where you're like, okay, I'm going to be charmed by this guy at some point, right? It's Robert Downey Jr., and they're like, see the movie.
Just see it.
Just see it. It's Iron Man.
You might.
And he's like, I'm Doolittle. And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Even if this is a great movie, it's like it's so underwhelming for Robert Downey Jr. He is one of my favorite actors. I think he gets into roles like no other act. Like he's very good at his job.
Yeah.
And yet he has now made billions of dollars. He's free to do whatever he wants, and he chooses to suck Disney's tit again.
It is definitely not an adventurous choice. One thinks of a great Daniel Radcliffe, who has done mostly unsuccessful but fascinating projects since being Harry Potter.
Yeah, like that's the thing is it doesn't matter what he does. So why don't you choose things that are weird, cool, interesting? Because you could be a failure for the rest of your life, and it literally doesn't matter.
Right, it's inherently interesting because you're this iconic person.
Actually,
make some good choices.
That is one of the thing about fame is that fame and wealth and power is that it gives you the privilege to do whatever you want. And I know he's going to make a shitload more money being Dr. Dolittle than, say, something else on a
Latino Terminator.
It could have been him.
Yeah.
But like, do something else for a little while. Give me something that's like weird and exciting. But yeah, whatever.
So we were reading an article while slamming burritos that the average score 1.75 star. No. Sorry, I fucked that up. Fuck. You said 1.5. I said 3, so it's 2.25.
Yeah.
2.25 forks, average Hot Harrys, and this
TM.
movie TM and Terminator: Dark Fate. Do you think Dark Fart or Fart Fate is better? I was thinking of this during the movie. I couldn't figure out which I liked better, Fart Fate.
I think
Dark Fart.
Dark Fart.
Yeah, Terminator: Dark Fart.
Way better.
Terminator: Dark Fart is not doing great. It costs almost $200 million to make, and it is not opening to that impressive numbers despite being number one. Meanwhile, Joker is steamrolling this year so insanely. I think this has been a crazy year. And there's whatever. Long story short, here's what I'm trying to say. This really, thank God, might be it. I think we can safely say we're out of the Terminator woods. So I can't even.
Can you imagine me in Terminator woods?
God,
I mean, we've been in there,
so
but like
dumb.
Michael,
the worst
Michael
woods.
Bay.
Michael
I think he
Bay.
can make a Terminator woods.
Honestly,
How about this? Terminator woods.
if Robert Eggers makes the next Terminator, I'll see it
In the woods.
in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
going to.
When will it end? 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 1,000 million times. Like, this needs to end. This is really bad. Okay, again,
Yeah.
we're revising our scores. T5 at least has Jason Clarke playing Psycho John Connor, which is an interesting idea.
I mean, we're not revising our scores. I think it still lands exactly where we put it. We're just being like, oh,
Okay,
this is.
we're updating the rankings because this is
No, I mean the ranking. It's still in the same spot for me. It hasn't
T5.
changed.
T5 is the worst.
No, I said it was better than but T2. T2 is worse.
Okay, we can't relitigate this every episode. I can't
can.
remember. Fuck.
You said
This is the worst one.
Initially, you said
This is
T2
the worst one.
was better than T5, and then I convinced you
That
through a
it was
series
the original
of
Infection.
brilliant,
Yeah, right.
logical, tactical.
Just shut the fuck up.
Just say I was,
Just get. Yeah, you're right. You won. You're right. You won. You're right. You won.
Yes.
He's so happy.
That was 1 point written on the board.
I'm researching
Wait,
that. Okay, so you're saying this is second worst or worst?
So this is it. This is actually one of my favorite parts of the podcast.
Ranking the
Is
entire
when we
franchise
finally
series?
get to the end of these goddamn franchises,
Okay, so
ranking
let's
everything.
let's start at the top and go to the bottom together. Okay,
How do you want to do it? You want to each do our full list, or you want to go one?
let's go one at a time. One on one. Okay, for me, number one, at the end of the day,
At the beginning of the day. Any time of day.
T1.
T1.
As a standalone film, it's a great movie. A woman saves herself, which the series decides to never do again, which is so disappointing.
It's the only movie that I feel like is really it's one of the two movies that's really about something.
Right.
And this one I think actually does an incredible job of using narrative fiction to make me understand something emotionally. about.
It's stolen from a Harlan Ellison story, so it's not like James Cameron thought of this just to preempt
and
that
it's
conversation.
basically written by his wife at the time.
Right. So this is not a James Cameron thing.
Nothing to do with it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he had nothing to do with it other than producing it.
Yes.
Giving money to
It's
it.
a classic horror story.
Oh,
it's
wait.
simple. It's beautiful.
I also learned that he taught Arnie how to look with his eyes and his face at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go make Piranhas 3, you
Gives
dumb
a
fuck.
shit.
Okay, so we both agree number one is
Yeah.
number one.
Number one's number one.
Number two, baby, we had so much fun watching this because sometimes
Yeah.
in these series you find yourself in the middle and you're like, I don't think this is ever getting better. And then all of a sudden you get a little movie called Terminator Salvation. T4, baby.
It's always called Terminator Salvation.
We got Christy Bale. We
Yeah.
got Sam Worthington from
my God.
Avatar fame, who played Jake Sully in Avatar.
So a great cast, but more importantly, it actually grapples with a lot of different things. It does it really well.
Right.
This is, I think, the best story about a robot. Because T1 is the best movie, but honestly, the robot story is not very interesting.
Well, the beauty of the first one is it's sleek
fine.
simplism. It's
Yeah.
dark, sleek, and efficient, and brutal, and awesome.
And it's cool to see him like not learn how to fucking love, but like learn how to become a better robot killer.
Right.
Where-
So in T4, that humanism, that T2 is a sad, watery, pathetic excuse for an attempt to address
And
that.
that T6
Is
completely
even
doesn't
worse.
even acknowledge,
We'll get
even
to
though
that.
it was in there.
Okay, so T4, we have, Sam Worthington's character, Miles, whatever. He's half Terminator, half man, and it's like legitimately interesting. There's some unexpected shit in it. We actually finally are freed from time travel and
Yeah.
just exist in one time setting in the future. It's great. Surprisingly great late series installment. We
A
loved
real
it.
winner.
Now things start to get, well, I think three is
I think it's
three.
still very
Three
clear
is
cut,
three.
but everything starts sucking.
Three
in.
is likable, has some good action in it, and is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie.
It's fine.
It's fine. I don't know. It is like a 5.1. It is like just over.
Yeah.
It's like fine. Claire Danes. I love Claire Danes.
Yeah, was it Stahl?
Shitty Kyle Reese was great.
Yeah. Wait, not Kyle Reese, John Connor.
Oh yeah, shitty John Connor. Excuse me, is great.
Yeah. I think I would go out on a limb and say best John Connor. No, fuck.
No.
That goes definitely to 5.
That goes to-
but
right.
for me, best. No, I would still say not best acting performance, but best character of John Connor.
Yeah, I think it's interesting seeing like the aborted John Connor stumble into like herodom after not thinking he'd ever actually do it.
Yeah.
I think I like that. I like him trying to do dog drugs in
Yeah.
the dog hospital. That was sick.
Because T4, Christian Bale's a great actor. He really got into the role, but it wasn't too much about him that much.
I think you're getting a
He's
down
fine.
the barrel Christian Bale performance. He's
Yeah.
not the most interesting character. He's just fun
Fine.
to watch.
And then T5, as you pointed out, his character sucks. He's like, I'm John Connor. Oh, robot touched me. I fucking love Skynet.
Hold
That's
on.
like his whole thing.
Hold on. I love that performance.
Yes, no, this you didn't hear me. I'm not. The performance is a magical piece
Okay,
of
yes, the writing is
business.
nonsense
But his
and-
character
yeah.
is bullshit. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't care. He's cool. He loves Skynet now. Great. Who fucking gives a shit?
Okay, well let's just get there together. Okay, so
No,
we
I'm
made our
just
way.
saying. So that's why T3 is a nice, solid, fine.
It's
with
fine.
The best character story about John Connor, our favorite bad boy from
Right,
his
and the
past.
story, as far as playing the timelines in the story, it's relatively explicable. You can kind of make sense of it, and it's not that sweaty. It's fine.
Yeah.
Also, the intro is great. The gay bar thing is funny, or the male stripper bar thing. Where
Yeah.
it's the best version of that bit, I think.
Right. If you're gonna use
He says, "Talk to the hand." She makes her tits bigger when she sees the billboard.
Yeah.
Great stuff in that movie.
no, that doesn't work.
top marks.
But no, I think if you, especially late, like mid franchise entry, where it's like,
We get it. T3 is
no,
fine.
I'm just saying, like here you have them rewriting a line that sucks, where it's like,
Let's get to it.
just let me talk.
We've covered T3.
Okay.
We did a whole episode of that.
I'm just saying, when you compare using the stripper bar to "come with me if you don't want to die in 30 seconds,"
Great
it's like,
line. That people will be saying that.
That is
for
what I'm talking about.
Months after this.
You're actually fucking around with the system that people. It's funny. It
Yeah,
works.
okay, we get it. It works.
Stop saying it.
Just shut
stop
the
saying
fuck up.
that.
Jesus,
I'm
okay.
just talking.
It's taking you forever to make a point.
Because
we
you
already
keep
talked
interrupting me by saying, "Just shut up. Just shut up."
about. T1, T4, T3. We go on to the fourth best, and this is where things get really weird. Fourth best, and this is very weird to say out loud now that I've thought about it. I have to go with Genesis as fourth best.
Of course, it's not even a question.
At this
I don't
point,
think this is weird at all.
at this point, like a movie that is like truly hamstrung by two of the worst performances of the entire series, Jai Courtney and Emilia Clarke, who are abysmal in that movie.
Yeah.
Jason Clarke as Psycho John Connor, who's also Future Man, is amazing.
What's his name? The yelly whiplash guy.
J.K. Simmons is in it
Yep.
as the emotionally devastated semi-alcoholic cop who has a great wall full of like Terminator yarn that I would wish we spent 1,000 years in. It's for like, there's a flash in that movie where it's like, what if this was a procedural about non-main characters trying to solve the Terminator question? You're like, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that's like spin-off Terminator material.
I would watch that
I would
Showtime series.
Wait,
or
isn't
whatever.
there is a show.
Sarah Connor Chronicles or some shit.
That's really hard to say.
We're not going to watch it. No one even fucking
The Sarah
add us.
Chronicles.
Do not add us. So yeah, T5, basically a fucking absolute turd, but it's very weird. And the weirdness, I think, gives it at least a character that the next two movies we will get into are woefully without. And this is where for things me even get more complicated.
More complicated than that sentence structure.
I guess technically T2 is only the second worst now.
Yeah,
Because
they finally did it.
We have to talk about these together because we can't.
Well, I don't know.
T6
It's so hard.
is like even more fanfic about T2 than anything else. It so desperately aspires to being T2 that its sheer patheticness and the bad swings that it takes are somehow even more insulting than T2, which just ruined an entire generation of action films.
You said I'm going to say a tiny sidebar. The fucking guts on Jamie Cameron to literally control a letter of the alphabet. He now has T. If you say T a number, everyone's thinking Terminator. Like he's just such a marketing piece of shit. Where he's like T2 Judgment Day. Great. Now I'm just T. I got T.
Here's the problem.
How many other letters can I get?
It's
I know.
brilliant.
It's so smart.
It's brilliant and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the thing. It's very hard because I think ultimately T2 thinks it's top shit, and I think it mistreats its woman character much worse than this one, maybe because it treats everything badly. T6 is like, it's so hard to get a feeling out of anything, where this is like people are so confused by what they're watching when they watch T2, and like the ending of T2 is so offensive that it might have to be the worst.
But my thing is that this is an extension and a direct continuation of that bad thing. So it drives the train even farther down the shit track into the shit mine. And we find ourselves in like, what if there was even more of T2? And the fact that this is an extension of that disaster makes it an even more pointless and disappointing. And this is also I have the ultimate argument. You can't argue with this. I'm going to win you over right here, okay?
All right.
The existence of this movie wipes out 3, 4, and 5, which are all movies that are better than either of these two movies.
That is true.
So this movie not only is a continuation of one of the worst movies ever made that's been turned into, like, strictly through marketing, cable deals, and VHS tapes, a beloved film to stupid people who need to wake up. It also wipes out the best non-original 4, the most interesting John Connor 5, and the completely acceptable fine one 3, and eliminates them and says, guess what? James Cameron gets to choose what the true continuity is, and this was his continuation of that world. This turd. This miserable, miserable turd.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this has to be worse than 2.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think
I mean,
it's
that
crazy
was a nice
that we have
little-
to talk about it like this.
That's a nice little icing on the cake of the argument, but I think ultimately T2 is mean-spirited while pretending to be nice, but it's only about one thing. This decides to tackle at least 2 topics, maybe 3 or 4,
really big topics.
and fails at all of them, where T2 is just like really, really sexist and misogynistic. This is misogynistic and also racist and also like strangely conservative and has no idea. It's like the fact that in 2019 you have 3 men writing a movie about women that so poorly understands a story about women sucks. Yeah.
It's really bad.
T2,
This is it. This is
T6,
the worst.
T2, T6,
This is
T1, T4, T3, T5, T2, T6.
And it's really appalling to be at the bottom of that stack in a woefully uneven franchise.
Yeah.
This has been tough to get through.
Yeah.
I know that, like, I think there's no way people follow us all the way into the dark on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series because it's so horny and crazy and nuts. And there's a lot of
Wait, have
horny
we announced
turtles.
that, Rhett? I
We
think
talked about it
We
earlier.
talked about it earlier. We said we were going to. Did we say we were going to do Turtles?
we're in minute 73 of the record, so I think we've just lost track of reality.
But anyway, we're going to do the. Oh, yeah, we said it.
So I'm saying no one's going to watch all those movies. People will watch this. This movie will see Dark
Yeah,
Fate.
they're excited for tomorrow.
excited.
They're excited for the today's release.
Well, it was released on Tuesday.
No, I'm saying
Thursday,
this
Friday.
episode.
Fuck.
This podcast.
Fuck. When's it come out? Mondays?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus
really? You're doing it
Christ.
tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
I got to do it tonight.
Yeah, we can't do another episode. You got to fucking get this shit ready. You
Yeah.
psycho. You fucking lunatic.
You want to watch Turtles? Though?
Maybe. I'll talk about it later. I have to poop. Okay, we have to finish this episode. I have to shit out our 2 1/4 fork burrito. This was a really bad movie. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't weird.
I think that's
it wasn't
the other
ironic.
reason.
It wasn't cynical. What?
The other reason why it's worse is that it is like at least my dumb boy brain like has fun watching shit blow up.
This was not fun to watch shit blow up.
This was not fun to watch shit blow up, so it also falls behind in that version too. Yeah, it sucks. This movie, don't see it. Just
Don't see it.
maybe
Don't
you've already
support
seen
this.
it.
Don't support it.
Yeah, sneak in, just set James Cameron's house on fire. Do something, but don't
Tell
see. Don't
Lyndall
see this.
Hamilton to never act again. Preserve her
Oh,
legacy.
yeah, we haven't talked really about her. She really sucks.
She does a bad job in this movie. She's
It's like she hasn't
overacting so
acted
aggressively.
ever
We talked
in her
about it.
life.
Yeah,
Or in
there's
what was the
no-
last time she acted?
It's been a very long time. There's
Yeah.
no nuance to this performance. To be fair to her, the writing for her as Sarah Connor in this is
always the problem.
So bad.
Yeah.
Where I think it's like again where like action dudes are like, oh, this blonde woman's our action gal, and we're gonna write dialogue that like might sound like sort of natural for a Tom Cruise type, to go back to your example from earlier,
Mm-hmm.
but coming out of her mouth feels like a dude is channeling his stupid, impotent thoughts into a lady who's just
Yeah.
repeating them.
Oh, one thing.
Yeah.
The nudity was good in this
We
movie.
do see a butt, but no male butts. And I
That's
rewatched Midsommar, so I got some dick in my
Nice.
life. And
But I like that they didn't sexualize, because the third one was sexualizing our
Terminator
Terminator.
horny. In a girl Terminator, she got boobs,
Yeah.
and they're horny.
But this was good. She's like, you saw a lot of butt, you saw some boobs, but it was like, I don't know, it didn't feel like it was a leery eye.
Yeah,
and it
to
was
this
nice.
film's credit, it at the very least does not fetish objectify Grace that much. So,
No.
good for you, I
Yeah,
guess.
we'll give it a point.
Which would give it total 1 star.
No, just a point.
Oh, actually, I had to take the point away because this movie does depict stolen valor, and that offended me.
Depicts what?
Stolen valor.
What's that?
Latino Terminator pretends to be an Afghani war vet to get through the metal detector.
God.
And that is disgusting.
Also-
disgusting.
As a man
Thank you.
who, no, that's
Oh,
fine. I was just
sorry.
saying myself, but as a person,
Oh, yeah.
as anyone who has had surgery and it's then been replaced by metal, doesn't set off metal detectors. So his whole like, oh, serve 2 serves, whatever.
It serves. Yeah, it serves 2 serves.
I serve 2 serves to replace the hip. Oh, thank you for your service. Let me suck your cock.
No, the guy's like, whatever. He's not that excited about it.
I know, but it's just like,
I hear. Yes, it's stupid. It's a
no,
stupid
you
movie.
probably have a gun on you.
Yeah, but it's
I mean,
okay.
that's
They're,
what
they're only the army. They probably don't know a lot about metal detectors.
Yeah.
This movie's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Dark fart. Tune in next week. We're doing the goddamn Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
This shit sucks.
Relive more of your childhood with us.
Yeah. Walk. Join us.
Oh, I never told that story about my dad.